I'm joined tonight by Rick Seymour, who is a master coordinator here at Shaklee. Rick is also like part of the dynamic duo of Rick and Aldona Seymour. And if you're new to this call tonight, you don't know who they are, but if you've been here before, you do. And so we're thrilled to have 50% of the dynamic duo of Rick and Aldona. So we're thankful, Rick, for you being here and giving back to the Shaklee community and those people who are looking at Shaklee for the first time. So Rick, thank you for being here. And I mentioned you are a master coordinator, and if they're new to the call, they don't know what that means, but I'll give it to them briefly. If you decide that Shaklee is right for you, master coordinator is where you want to be, and we got one of the best on the call tonight. So Rick Seymour, thank you for joining and giving back. We appreciate you being here.
Thanks, Roger. Well, I always appreciate the opportunity to talk about my favorite subject, which is this amazing company and amazing opportunity. But let's kind of look at it from the perspective of somebody brand new were looking for a change in their life. What would they be looking for? And those of you who are new, if you're looking for more freedom in your life, maybe you want to fire your boss or just have a little extra cash, a side hustle, or maybe even something as major as a career change. In many cases, we're looking for a community, people who believe like us, who have a philosophy that we feel have a sense of belonging, or just knowing we're making a difference, that what we do every day is impactful in other people's lives. Or maybe you're just looking for the best gig in the gig economy. Well, I think the fun part is Shaklee Corporation can provide all that for anybody who is interested enough to do their due diligence and really understand what we bring to that party. But to give it some context, I want to start with something that came out of the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki several years ago. I think this should be required reading for every high school graduate in this country because it would set them up to really understand how to get their act together financially. But one of the things he talks about is the cash flow quadrant. And he defines it that most people fall into one of these four quadrants. Either they're an employee, they're self-employed or a professional, they're a business owner or an investor. And how are those things different? Well, you'll notice there's a red line right down the middle, and everything on the left-hand side, whether you're an employee, whether you're self-employed or a professional, you are basically trading time for money. When you're working for somebody else, you're achieving somebody else's goals, you're getting paid, whether it's a salary or hourly, but you're trading time for money. And the essence of that is we're renting our life to somebody else. I started out my working career as a rocket scientist, literally. I was an aerospace engineer. And the fascinating part was that this was 40 some years ago. I was getting paid, I don't know, $40 an hour. And the corporation was charging NASA $128 an hour for me. And I always wondered, well, how can I make up the rest of that? How come the corporation gets all that instead of me? But even people who are self-employed, literally, they just own their own job. I have a dentist friend who said to me one day, you know, Rick, if I'm not standing by that chair, looking in somebody's mouth, I'm unemployed. And it never occurred to me until he said it, that that's true of any professional. So if we're trading time for money, the reality is if we're not working, we are not earning. And sadly, that's 95% of the people in this country that are on that side of the quadrant, but only have 5% of the wealth in this country. But on the other side, on the right-hand side, with the business owners and investors. Now, investors are people who have enough money, they can live off their money, and that's such a small percentage of the conversation, it's probably not worth addressing. But as a business owner, people have learned how to leverage themselves and have a system where even if they're not working, they're still earning. That's a passive income. And that's where you literally can own your own life. And the question becomes, if you want to get from the left side to the right side, how can you make that happen? And I think it's a really good question because I discovered very early that I just don't play well with others. And I wanted out of corporate America. I couldn't figure out how to get out of corporate America. It was just a fluke conversation that led us to Shaklee. And what I was shown the day I was shown Shaklee was what's on this page right here. Now, I'm a numbers guy. I have a degree in applied mathematics. I understand numbers. I get it. And when somebody showed this to me, I immediately saw it as my ticket out of corporate America. And I think it starts with this statement that J. Paul Getty said, one of the richest men from the last century. He said, I would rather have 1% of the efforts of 100 people than 100% of my own. In other words, he figured out that by building a network, by leveraging his time through other people, that you can create something much bigger than you can do by yourself. So when we look at what we call network marketing, this phenomenal business model, this amazing profession that we get to participate in, we can go out and teach people how to do what we do, and they can turn around and do the same thing, and those people can do the same thing. So if you look at this example, what if 2 people that you sponsor into Shaklee turn around and sponsor 2, and each of those people sponsor 2, and you did that down 6 levels. And by the way, you can get paid to 6 levels. Actually, you can get paid to infinity in Shaklee. But let's just talk about those first 6 levels. So if you sponsor 2 and they each sponsor 2, that's 4 in your second level, and each of those 4 sponsor 2, that's 8 in your third level, and 16 and 32 and 64. That's 128 people altogether by the time you get to the 6th level. Well, what if 3 sponsor 3 sponsor 3? Well, by the time you get to the 6th level, that's 1,092 people. What if 4 sponsor 4 sponsor 4? By the time you get to the 6th level, that's 5,460 people. That's what got me excited. Because what's the difference between 5,460 and 1092? And you're probably sitting there trying to subtract those 2 numbers. No, the essence of it is, yes, it's more than 4,000 people, but the essence of it is the difference is 1 person. Just 1 more person in each of those levels leverages your time so dramatically that you can create something very significant in a relatively short period of time. That's the vision that I captured 44 years ago. That's the vision that I realized this is my ticket out of corporate America, and it has created an extraordinary lifestyle for Aldona and I. So whatever it is you want, whether it's freedom, time, and money, whether you want to be part of a community, or luxury travel paid for by somebody else, or a business that is so mobile that if you've got a smartphone in your hand, you are in business no matter where you are, or maybe it's just you want better health. Shaklee can provide that. So let's look at how this all comes together, because we start with this amazing corporate partner called Shaklee Corporation. 63-year legacy, research and development far beyond what the vast majority of companies and even pharmaceutical companies do in our particular niche of holistic wellness and nutrition. In fact, we've got to date 138 published clinical studies in peer-reviewed medical journals. I think that's more than the sum total of almost every other company in our competitive sphere. We've got amazing innovative products that are very unique in the marketplace. Shaklee takes care of the manufacturing. They do the distribution. They take care of the cash flow and the compensation. 95% of what the classic retail business or brick and mortar business does is taken over by Shaklee Corporation. We don't even have to deal with those parts. We don't have a humongous investment to get started. We've got a very modest investment to be involved in the business, and we don't have cash flow problems because everybody orders directly from the company. We don't have to deal with the product flow, inventory, any of that kind of stuff. So we've got this legacy behind us with an extraordinary amount of credibility, with 63 years of history that is unlike almost any other corporation in the country. Now, part of that are these amazing products that support this opportunity. Over the years, we've had a couple of studies done, first by UC Berkeley School of Public Health called Landmark 1, where they compared people who took a multivitamin to people who don't, and then incorporated a very large group of people who had used nothing but Shaklee products for 20 years or more, and compared them to the other 2 groups. And if you look at this quote right here by Nobel Prize winner Elizabeth Blackburn, says the Shaklee population is remarkably healthier than the general population as shown by 2 studies, the landmark study on long-term nutritional supplement users and the telomere study. Now, if a Nobel Prize winner sees that, I think it ought to be pretty much cast in concrete, but that wasn't enough. Tufts University started following that same group of Shaklee people, now having used Shaklee products for 30 years or more. And what they found was that people that took no supplements or a multivitamin only as they aged had an average of 3 times as many serious health issues as they aged than the Shaklee population way down here. People who took multiple supplements, different vitamins of other brands, had almost twice as many serious health issues as they aged than the Shaklee population. And the challenge is this. Up here, you have disease and doctors and drugs and lots of money. Reminds me of the old commercial of pay me now or pay me later. Well, guess what? You can invest in your health now and have dramatically better health in the future. Either way, you're going to have to invest in your health one way or the other. Shaklee is the only company in this industry with independent clinical proof that their products literally build health over the long term. No other company in our market niche has anything even remotely like this. On top of that, and this is what got us introduced to Shaklee, was biodegradable cleaners. Our Get Clean Starter Kit, this box right here that is 99 bucks, will replace $3,400 worth of cleaning power from your grocery store. This mound of plastic will not go into the environment by using very safe, very green, biodegradable cleaners. Shaklee was the first certified climate neutral corporation in the world. And just by changing brands here, it's the equivalent of planting 10 trees. It's one of the best environmental decisions you can make. And Shaklee was involved in solving environmental problems before most Americans knew we had them. These products have been around for over 60 years. We've also learned how to take our science and our research in the nutrition field and figure out how to apply it externally with an amazing skincare line called Youth. In the clinical studies that were done with this product before its introduction, 100% of the women were clinically proven to have younger looking skin, and 2/3 actually shifted their skin age to a younger decade. That's crazy when you think about it. And this was not somebody's subjective evaluation. They literally measured wrinkles, pore size, skin tone, firmness, sagging, radiance, hyperpigmentation, and skin texture, and compared it to this index, a whole decade in 60 days. That's crazy when you think about it. So we've got these extraordinary products to support this opportunity. Well, guess what? The next piece is the team you join, the people that bring you into this business. They're going to be coaching you. They're going to be mentoring you. There's a tremendous amount of training online developed by field leaders and supported by Shaklee Corporation. You'll be joining a community of people who care about the planet, who care about better health, who care about other people and knowing how they can affect their lives in very positive ways. You'll have tremendous leadership and training throughout this and people to help you there with strategic planning if you're serious and you really want to do something to change your life in a very significant way. So what's the last piece? It's you. You have to bring the vision and the goals for what you want to have in your future. You've got to make a commitment of time and you've got to be coachable. But if you bring those to the party, Shaklee and the team you join brings everything else you need to make it happen. And I love what Dr. Shaklee said 60 years ago. Your future will be exactly what you decide to make it. Well, what might this look like if you decide that this is something you want to do and you want to get started in the business? Well, let's say you go out and you become what we call a director with 3,000 points. It's sort of like mileage plus points. Every product has points assigned to it. And if you generate 3,000 points every month, you'll be what we call a director. And let me tell you what that looks like. Our most common package, nutrition package that we sell is called Vitalizing Plan. It's a strip and a shake. And it literally changes people's lives in very significant ways in a very short period of time. More energy, better health, don't get sick as often. The list goes on and on and on. Just you and 26 people using just Vitalizing Plan, not using any other Shaklee products. And there's over 300 products people can be using. But if that's all they do, just you and just 26 other people, that'll generate 3,000 PV a month. You're going to be earning about $800 a month. And the fun part is that if you do that any 6 months during your first year in a row, and it's an average 3,000 points any 6 months during that first year, you get to go to the new directors conference where they fly you out to the home office. You get to tour the home office, the innovation center where all the research and development is done. You get dinner in a winery, some phenomenal training while you're there. It's one of the best introductions to your future into this company that you could ever have. Now, if you went out and taught one other person how to do what you just did, in other words, teach them how to find 26 people, get on Vitalizing Plan, you're going to be earning about $1,000 a month, and you're going to earn a car bonus, $225 to $250 a month, depending on whether or not it's a hybrid or not. $250 if it's a hybrid, $225 if it's not, in keeping with our environmental orientation. Now that seems pretty simple to me, and it's probably easier to get into a car these days than it ever has been in 60 years in Shaklee. But what if you taught a second person how to do that? If you did that before September, the end of September of this year, you're also going to qualify for a dream trip to Costa Rica. All expenses paid, an extraordinary 5-star resort. It's one of the best experiences you can ever have to be around people that you just love spending time with who have similar goals to you. And if you taught a third person how to do that, you'd be averaging about $21,000 a year, and you can do that in your spare time. All you have to do is reprioritize a few things in your life, maybe give up Dancing with the Stars and who knows, some other TV program, and you're going to have enough time to pull this off and make it happen. But here's the fun part. If you want more than that, all you have to do is teach those 3 people how to do what you just did. In other words, help each of them find 3 directors. You're going to be earning about $55,000 a year is what we call a senior executive coordinator. That's not a bad part-time income. In fact, that's higher than the median income in this country. In other words, half of all people in this country working a full-time job earn less than that number. And you can do that as a side business if you want. And if you really want to make a career out of it like I did, guess what? It's one of the best ways I know to get from the left side of that quadrant to the right side of that quadrant. When I look at the lifestyle that it's created for Aldona and I, we just count our blessings every single day. I went from a rocket scientist to a Shaklee entrepreneur to being semi-retired with a 6-figure plus income at the ripe old age of 38. And for the last 35 years, we've been semi-retired with a 6-figure plus income. I don't know where else we could have done anything like that and have the freedom, the lifestyle, and the impact on other people's lives that we've been able to have over the last 44 years. On top of that, we can give this business to our kids, to our grandkids, and they can benefit from everything that we have built generation after generation after generation. It's an extraordinary opportunity, and I encourage you, whoever invited you here tonight to listen to this call, make sure you spend some time with them, do your due diligence, really learn the nuts and bolts of what makes this thing work, and I hope you'll join our Shaklee family. Roger, let me give it back to you.
Hey, thank you very much, Rick. Appreciate you being here tonight and giving back. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to do this thing, even though you were. I mean, there's so much goodness that is Shaklee. You know, we have products that are wonderful that you share with others, and you help create a wonderful life for them. So we appreciate you being here and sharing with us. And like Rick mentioned, if you are joining us for the first time, someone who cares about you a great deal invited you to this call, we encourage you to get back with that person. Find out how simple it is to become part of the Shaklee family. Get on the path to better health. And you know what? Let's get to the right side of that quadrant that Rick was talking about. Rick, thank you very much. I know that you're building a massive team across North America. And in fact, you're going from here to a team call. So wish you much success on that call. But thanks again for being here and sharing with those people who are looking at Shaklee for the very first time.
You're very welcome, Roger. Thank everybody for being here tonight. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Have a great Monday evening, everyone. We look forward to seeing you next week.